For episode 6, I was going to jump into the gemstone. I've decided to continue on with episode 5, Francis Drake, the Queen's Pirate. As I said, the history is going to be in the forest, but it's too late for the forest. They've erased the history by clear-cutting the forest. If you know what the mountain looks like, it's easy to draw a map of it. These maps are from the Hewett Forestry. You can see they knew what the mountain looked like. The top of that mountain is where the Bamfield plume agate is. It's just a little clip from the gemologist. I think Colt did a great job in arranging this, and I think his payment of over 100 pounds of Bamfield blue plume agate was well worth it.
Tell us what you got there.
This is the Bamfield plume agate that is filled with bugs, drusies. We're finding amethyst floater crystals in here.
But you've only got a small bucket load.
Yeah, this is just a good start. So here's a good one for you. This is fun.
Here, tell us what these are.
So this one is the floater crystal I found, like 5 minutes of just being here. So this is probably
Laying on
stuck
the
in a cavity. And then this one is an amethyst.
Yeah.
So we're finding blue agate, quartz floaters up here, amethyst. The list goes on and on.
And you're having fun?
Oh yeah.
What are you guys finding? Oh, nice.
Beauty. That's a good one.
Well, that's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Great color in that.
Yeah,
man.
that looks solid, actually.
So this one was really interesting. It's probably one of the best pieces we pulled for the fact. This one is a jewelry grade piece of the blue agate. We will be able to cut and polish that, like credit goes to Jesse for finding it, but it's a whole solid nodule. So this is the best of the best.
Right here I want to concentrate on Francis Drake's timeline and concentrate on Drake's men again. By about 1578, he made it to the west coast of North America. The theory is he left some of his men behind to create a colony. The precise location of the port was carefully guarded to keep it a secret from the Spanish. I think in episode 4 you can see how the Spanish underestimated the natives. I don't think they'd want to make that mistake again. They kept their distance from the natives in the Bamfield area. From the mines you look down, you can see where the battle took place. In the distance you can see Trevor Channel and the Deer Group Islands. So here you see him being pulled past the Deer Group Islands. I believe in 1577 his men were building these ships. I've grown up with the locals from the Grappler Creek area. I'm actually going to be interviewing the elders to finish this part of Willie's video. I know the elders have always been wondering why the European features in these families. This video is going to answer that question. During the witch hunt of episode 3, I sat on this dock with an elder and he pointed out Francis Drake's men's camp. I've always wondered what caused the phenomenon of this weird hole. It's not natural, but I measured it. It will fit perfectly 4 50-foot long rowboats. I believe they dug a channel up to the flats and then dug out this hole. Then they filled the channel back in, creating a place to put their boats. While the Spanish were in Sarita Bay and mining on the mountain, the native village here were hiding these men, and they were literally spying on the Spanish and getting ready for Francis Drake to come back. Like I said, when Francis Drake came back, the 4 boats went out, met him off the point, and towed his boat up to the Spanish. By then, they would have had all the native bands ready for the battle. All throughout this area, you can see rocks piled up. They were actually creating the clam gardens. It's interesting because these ones are only 500 years old. I found this copper bracelet in a spot where it looks like they made boatways out of boulders. There's no doubt there's history here. I've always pointed out my concern about what is happening to the forest. The fact that we're losing the history. This is a culturally modified tree. The Logging Company believes that only native history matters, but that's not a reality. The reality is the history is in the forest. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, they logged right up against Drake's fort. It clearly wiped out any history in behind. I again voiced my concerns, created this map to show what's there. I even sent a Freedom of Information request to try and get information about the caves mentioned in episode 3. I call these caves Drake's Cave. The coffins, I believe, are the coffins of Sir Francis Drake and one of his men. A simple DNA test is all that's needed. I'm not going to get into the evictions the logging company has done in this area. My letters have gone to the government, and I'm sure they had a good laugh. Passing this video on right away to one of the families of these descendants, because their relative is getting evicted again. I filed a formal resource violation complaint about site number 1. I said it was an international heritage site, an old trail to the crystal mine and the location of the red paint, the agates I'm now going to call the blue stones. Unfortunately, it had already been logged. I did file another complaint about site number 2 and 3 before they logged. In it, I made it very clear. I said site number 3 is the trail and occupied lands of Sir Francis Drake. In 1986, I found an old mine, and then I read a legend called the Cave of Cowaswilth. It said there was a miniature mountain carved in solid rock in the back of the cave. This led me to other caves, like this one. Living in a small university town, it didn't take long to realize this was celestial rock art. With permission from late Spencer Peters, I took his speaker, Willie Sport, accompanied by some chiefs, to these caves.
Great story to tell, you know. There can be stories told about this cave, but you're not going to say where it was. Unless this person is actually want to continue the story and continue discovering what it's all about. Then we'll tell that person where it is and when to be here, and how to concentrate to learn more about what it's all about. Whichever you wish to use of the name of the Indian people, this was the place for them to do their ritual. You want to call him the shaman, you want to call him the medicine man. This is where he done what he had to in order to see the image of the miniature mountain, the gold color. This is where to pray. And the real mountain is so quite a distance from here. وقوة مشتخيو وعيد يجححكو وسمج ويقوموا سهنيب محسن يحكوا ويحقسوا وسم واشتخيو محسخو يجححكو وسمج ومتك حواز النايز ويخاش لسكن ساكشي سني وعاحس نشكت لمخستي وابقو محسخس أحقوا إبنات شتحكو هج وتسكي يحكو وحق يو بسك نشك حوامد خسل هوات مو هبس مو تشيشت سواكو بس وسمت حكو هج أحقوا يكتكو ما أحكو وكل ما أحكوه حياة حسيك وحول يتوسك وساق ويد ونكو حياة ياس ومسيا باختلي تعطينا خويتك وكوت يقاختلي وحدك ومتك يخك يقولك وحدك محسب وياك تحكوه يخوينك وحدك تحكوه يحمى ويخمس وعياد حيث أحكوه وكحجتك هو عيد حمد أنا سياس واشتقيو قاعدين انك ككوسنك ويقول يخوك وابختي سياسيه الحواج أحاوحما ويخمس أحكم أحجن شوف.
It's 2024, and this is a picture of the trip I did to the cave this year. I'm still waiting for my government to send somebody to see these sites. Rock art carved in solid granite. I assume the archaeology branch still thinks I'm delusional. To this day, the RCMP are still spreading rumors that I'm delusional and unstable. The Cave of Cowaswilth, written in 1927 by Alfred Carmichael, is a story about ancient rock art. Speaks of a golden mountain carved in solid granite. a map which leads you to the entrance to the Bamfield Harbor, where you find a sacred trail which takes you to the swamp, sacred sites, and the crystals. Unfortunately, Willie passed before I took him up to the trail, but he has the stories.
But I also would like to teach you up on the mountains there are some sacred places there, maiden pools. Once we get up there, I will tell you how to go about doing it. There are four pools go down the mountain as the water goes down. It's a very sacred place that we can do.
Willie told me it was not his people that created the rock art, and Spencer said they would come by sea. One thing about this place, it's accessible to any seafaring culture, since the first dugouts plowed the waters.